on the road, I've been living in the fast lane. And I've been trying to grow, I've been thinking about my past ways. Back when I was broke, they was looking at me mad strange. They were counting me out, now they count on me now. Hey, count on me, count on me, count on me, yeah. Count on me, count on me, count on me, yeah. Hey, they were counting me out. Now I am the one and they count on me now. Hey.
Don't tell me nothing if you never been about it. All the hating and the doubting, yeah, I've been around it. I feel the vibe out, know I can't be tied down, so I had to ride out. Did it for myself, no matter how they felt. Broke out of my shell, now I'm doing well. Way better now, the dead weight dead and gone. Now they tryna hit the phone, but I move forward to another episode. I ain't falling for that cap talk, like you're typing with the caps lock. I ain't with the flashy fast talk, I just keep it moving like the city hit the next spot. Level up with my day ones, faded from the fake ones. Ran out of patience, waiting for the time, so I had to hit the cruise. Doing as I choose, now I'm doing what I do. I'm coming through.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Curtain Up Q&A. My name is Stephanie Kyungsun Walters, and I'm the lead artist of the Philadelphia Asian Performing Artists Playwrights Project. And I'll be moderating today's Q&A with Hui Tang, Kelly Ning, and William Choi, and they are the team from Curtain Up. Woohoo!
Yeah!
Yes,
Hi, everyone.
come on! Thank you guys so much for being here. Anyone who has questions, you can pop them right into the comments section and we will start that dialogue. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I loved the film. As a actor and teaching artist and art maker, for me, it was so impactful to see so many Asian American kids and youth get together, and also seeing their teachers engage with them and interact with them. That was really impactful for me. So if we have any questions, feel free to pop them up. But I'm gonna maybe sneak in and get us started with a quick one real quick. William, my question is for you. How has your life changed since this film?
Not really sure. Well, after this film, me, Hui, and Kelly got to be really good friends. That's one thing that changed. Because at the start of the film, we really didn't even know each other. That's one thing. I can't think of anything else.
Your new school because you moved to middle school by the end of the film. And I remember the scene of you going to your new school and your mom was calling to hopefully set up a theater club for you there. Did you get one started?
No, we couldn't get one started, but there is drama though. So.
Oh, good. So you're still making moves as an actor.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
That's great.
Yeah. Have you been able to kind of feed that theatrical need inside of you through that drama class?
No, it's not like musical theater, so I don't do it as much, but I've done other programs like over breaks and stuff.
That's great. So you're just straight musical theater, belted out, high kicks, that's your thing. Okay. Don't put you in any period dramas. You don't want the Shakespeare, leave the Chekhov behind, just musicals. I got it. Okay, I can dig it. How about our creative team? I was wondering, because I know you guys you've said that you're an international team. Kelly, you're in Singapore right now, and Hui, you're in China right now. Yeah. What drew you to this New York City public school?
I guess I'll get started. So basically, Kelly and I were classmates at Columbia Journalism School. We're doing our master's thesis. So this film actually started as a thesis project, as a short, and after graduation, we developed it into a feature-length film. So that was summer 2018. We were doing research and reporting in preparation for our thesis project, and that was time of Crazy Rich Asians, right? Just coming out, and There's all this discussion and disputes about Asian representation in theater, not in theater, in Hollywood. And personally, I was a theater enthusiast in college. I did a lot of acting and directing in theater. So I was interested in how the theater artists were doing in like Asian theater artists were doing in the US or in New York City. So I went on reporting and interviewing a lot of Asian artists. And that's how I came upon this program called National Asian Artists Project, by Bao Lee, featured in our film. And just on their website, I just saw this program, like this theater club at the PS 124 elementary school. And they have pictures and pictures and videos of the kids performing, at the Junior Theater Festival in Atlanta at school. And I was super, super like surprised to see like a kind of all Asian cast. I was like, where was this, right? So that gave me the chance to get down to Chinatown, met with the principal. And, the first time I entered the school, I was so, drawn by the kids' energy and the professionalism. So I said, okay, I'll just maybe start filming this as my project. And the principal and Bayard were super welcoming. And so, basically next week I started filming them. The kids were doing Aladdin at the time. They were not doing Frozen yet. And William was Aladdin in Aladdin. So he naturally became like one of our main subjects. And then, Kelly joined me a couple weeks later. So it's how the project started.
Wow, that's so great. When you were working on this film, was this the first thing that you guys worked on at Columbia? Or, well, no, it's a thesis, so I guess it's like your culmination. Yeah. But was this the first time you made a documentary of this scale? I mean, the subject of the student, right? That's such a large scale, intense way to really throw yourself into documentary, with young minds and young thinkers. So did you find that challenging, or you've been doing it, so it was easy peasy?
Well, I guess for me, it was the first time I made a documentary of any scale. So I think on the question of filming young subjects like children, I think it's maybe challenging in a different way, because I know some of our other classmates in the course had other challenges, but for us, like, it wasn't so much that, maybe they had rehearsals every week, like twice a week, and we would be there and they would be there. We weren't worried about like them being like no shows or anything like that. And because we had the principals buy-in, the teachers buy-in, they were really supportive of the club and of our project as well. So it was pretty good access in that sense. But I think the challenging part was getting to know the children and like their family members as well, and like really building that relationship such that they would eventually invite us or be willing for us to come into their homes and get to know them on a more personal, like behind the scenes, off stage kind of level.
That's some of my favorite content, I think. The interviews with the drama moms, which, listen, sign my mom up, William. Get my mom a t-shirt. Seriously. She was, I think alternately to how the moms are set up in the top of the film, right? We see this great arc of the moms and their transformation, or how they are changed by their children's skills. Particularly so, William, your solo that we get to see at the festival, and your mom's just beaming pride in that moment, right? And I think that trajectory of that story that you guys have really spun very beautifully in this film is so unique in this experience, right? William talks about this a lot in his interviews about being Asian American is like that space in between the word Asian and American feels epically large when you're young and you have a dream that is so against a grain, right, William? How was it for you doing these interviews with your mom and having these conversations about, well, I don't think I want to always follow the norm. I want to pursue this thing that brings me great joy. After the camera stopped rolling, did the conversation keep going between your mom?
I think we talked about it a bit more because the conversation was a bit awkward because there was like a camera in front of us. And like, it just felt really awkward just telling my mom like that I really wanted to be an actor when I grow up. And so she didn't think that I could be like that. But like now she's sort of, I don't know. Like she right now she's like trying to push me to do more things instead. So like it sort of changed her.
Good. Well, I hope you can experience a lot of things while you're young, right? This is the time for you to really try on a lot of different hats and see who you are as a person, but also who you are as an artist. And I think, William, something that I truly take away from a lot of your scenes in this film, and I hope that future generations who see this film can take away, is that courage and that bravery that you have to say that I'm going against this cultural norm and I want to be a performer, right? Speaking from one Asian performer to another, who had a mom who was a little hesitant at first, but then, William, anytime I was in a play, my mom was front row just like yours. So pride comes in a lot of different ways and change comes in a lot of different ways. But I think your story here will impact a lot of future generations of Asian American kids who want to pursue the arts and have the courage and bravery that you have to say and have this conversation with their parents. So I hope that you feel empowered by that in some way, because it was super impactful for me watching it as an adult who felt these things growing up. I guess my other question for Kelly and Hui is, have you guys always been like American musical theater kind of people, like chorus line and all this and that? Well, because you got Byork, so I got to bring up chorus line.
Right, of course. For me, to be honest, it was not until I started doing all this research and reporting with Asian artists, theater artists, that I started paying more attention to kind of the Western or American musicals. Because as I said, I was a theater enthusiast in college, but what we were doing was mostly like Asian shows or like Chinese shows, and it was actually something worth thinking about, because like in college I was always thinking about like, why was I doing this, like doing Asian shows to like a Western audience in the US? And this the process of making this documentary to getting to know more about the American musicals, it's really a different perspective for me, like thinking about like how even more difficult it is for like Asian kids or Asian artists to do Western shows, or right, like to be seen as Asians doing Western or like musicals. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting process for me. I mean, I definitely became a musical fan. I mean, not at the start of making, like, at the start of doing all this research and reporting. I would say for me now it's like 50 like musicals, 50 like traditional like drama theater. So yeah.
Nice.
For me, I think I've always enjoyed theater as an audience, not a practitioner. But I mean, apart from being in drama club in elementary school, but that was like 2 years. But I think, so I'm from Singapore, and we do get a lot of Broadway-ish musicals being brought here, and I would always actually watch all of them, and I would like collect like all the paper programs. I would buy them, have a whole like chest of them. But I think also like I kind of wanted I in general, as like a personal preference, I also kind of like to support like local productions. So I guess what we filmed in the school was kind of a mix of both, like by a very local group of children theater artists, but I guess putting up a more like classic Disney show. This is kind of like an interesting marriage. And I guess we can talk more about it, but I guess amongst ourselves we've also discussed this whole idea of like whether, on one hand you don't want to be typecast into certain like Asian roles only, but then at the same time a lot of like the more mainstream Disney type plays are very much written for like a white audience, or even like a white cast, right down to like costumes and everything. So there's kind of like the interesting tension over there too.
Yeah, it's why we need so many more diverse voices when creating films and creating plays and creating TV. It's about that representation, right? Right down to the costumes, you say, and I think a lot about is it Charlotte? Yeah. Right? Charlotte Elsa saying at one point that she just kind of knew, just by being a citizen of the world, by observing her surroundings, that, well, there's not a lot of Asian American actors, so I guess it's just really hard to become one, right? She says, I don't think that, or I don't think I'd get a lot of jobs. She says at one point. And I think as a theater maker for me, it was like I was punched in the face with that, you know, to hear someone so young think that they don't have opportunities ahead of them because of what they observe in the outside world. And, you know, what I take away a lot from your film is that while giving students access to like very contemporary, very intensely popular American theater, we also are not creating space for them to live a cultural identity and a truth on stage. So with that kind of in our heads, right? I do have a quick question, but Hui, do you want to come in and say something too?
Just to respond to that, I think that's what's interesting about this school, because I mean, first of all, it's a like a very Asian dominant environment, but also a lot of parents have reservation about their kids doing like music, like iconic American musicals. So that's why they're also the school is pushing very hard to also have like Chinese or Asian stuff for the kids to do. Like there's a thing we didn't include in the film. It was during the Chinese New Year show. So there were a group of kids were doing like, so the kids were doing Aladdin, like for the audience, and then they quickly have to change their costumes, and they did the lion dance and all the like traditional stuff right after that. So I think the school is pushing very hard to kind of like trying to combine both aspects of the kids' identity. Yeah.
It's that gap, right? It's bridging that space, the literal space between the words Asian American.
Right.
That's totally true. And how do we create something, you know, that is of that space? William, I have a question for you. Now that you've reached fame and fortune after being in this film, superstar, you know, being so gracious to come to Philadelphia and to talk with us, what is your dream role? Oof.
Ooh. Ooh. I'm not too sure about that. No, I don't. I haven't really considered that yet. I don't even know if I can make it out in life.
Oh. Well, I can guarantee you, with your professionalism and your charisma, you will absolutely make it out into the world, my friend. Are there any actors that you really super duper love, or maybe musicians or musical artists that you're like, dang, they got some good style, or ooh, I really like how they perform, or they're always in this type of movie and I like these types of movies?
I don't know. I mean, I really enjoy watching like Marvel movies, but yeah.
William, you've been watching Kim's Convenience a lot, right?
I mean, yeah, I only watched like I just watched 3 seasons. That's it.
That's a lot, all right.
That's a lot.
Is there an actor in it you like? Or
wasn't it like well, in that show, I think it's either the grandpa or Simu Liu, or
is this the comedic character, would you say? Because I haven't seen Kim's Convenience.
I think the grandpa in Kim's Convenience, or like the dad, he's really funny in it. Yeah.
Okay. So you like these more comedic roles, would you say?
Yeah, probably.
Great, awesome. Well, that fills in with your Hans character, right? Kind of like reversal, good guy, bad guy, also fitting with your Marvel movie. But we'll come back to that because it seems like we've got a question growing here. Oof. All right, so we have a question for Kelly and Hui. What was it like to work with kids and their families? Were there any families that did not feel comfortable sharing such intimate moments of their life?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it comes down to 2 aspects. One is casting, one is winning their trust. In terms of casting, like we have a pool of over 30 kids and their families to choose from, but but it was not until like several months into the filming, we went to the Junior Theater Festival in Atlanta with the family. We kind of like stay at the same hotel with the families and eating dinners. That's how we really got to know the families and the parents. And definitely some of the parents are not that open to us. So I think in terms of casting, we need to have kids who are more open to us or who have personalities, but also like it has to be a good combination with their families, with their parents, right? If their parents are welcoming enough. So that's like we did spend a lot of time doing that. And then in terms of winning trust, I guess Kelly can talk about that. Like there's some crisis, and then
William can talk about that too.
William know about that. Yeah.
I guess it's in like we said, it also wasn't just about the family and the parents, but the kids themselves, whether they were willing to let us into their lives. And I think maybe halfway through our filming, a few months into it, we kind of like got into a misunderstanding with some of the children. I think they kind of like thought we were telling on them or something like that to the teachers. Yeah, and they started calling us stalkers because we would bring like our cameras and our tripods every week down, and before that they were like really nice, like would come and like fiddle with our equipment and everything, and then suddenly things changed and they were like, stop filming us. And it took a bit of I guess just for a while we were a little like worried, because we were like, did we kind of like just lose all like the people that we hope we could cast in our film? Do we like lose their trust? And I guess we did for a while, but we met up with some of them and like the parents as well, and just like sort of like cleared up the air. And I think actually the incident sort of like was a crisis at that time, but it kind of like brought us a bit closer to some of the kids and their family and their parents, that we also had the opportunity to really explain like what actually we're here for and what sort of film we were really trying to make, I guess. Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Hui or William?
I never even had your trust until you started talking to my parents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't trust you guys because you just had your cameras all around, and it was a bit suspicious at first.
Oh, wow. And that's quite a few months, right? We were following you quite a few months before we actually talked to your parents a lot.
Yeah.
So how was you feeling? Yeah, you were always suspicious of us during that month. Oh my God, we didn't know that either. Wow.
Live interviews, ladies and gentlemen and friends.
Learn something new.
I have a follow-up question to that is what did you guys do to sort of either earn their trust in the beginning or after this incident? What did you do? Were there like exercises that you included the gang with, or did you show them like elements of film that you were like trying to capture? How did you kind of bring them into this project then?
Sure. I think two things. One is actually after crisis, we actually kind of apologized to their parents for the misunderstanding, and they told their kids, and some of the kids actually next week came up to us and apologized to us in a way that I think that really built a new connection with the kids, right? And then secondly, I think since William is here, I feel like especially with William, it's kind of like when we actually got to sit down and talk. Because before that, it's actually just us filming their rehearsals, right? It's very kind of like superficial in a way. But I think it was until we sat down and asked deep questions, like all the interviews actually happened after that crisis. We talked about Asian Americans being Asian kids, your dreams, stuff like that. I think that's when I cannot tell for William, but I feel like William had lights in his eyes when we were asking questions, and that's when we felt kind of real connection to you, right, William? Or maybe not.
I don't know.
You don't know, right. Whatever. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely a deeper understanding between us when we actually got to sit down and talk what it's like being an Asian American kid, something like that.
Yeah. Now that this film is out and everything is kind of up and running, you guys are on your tour of the film festivals.
Yeah.
William, have you talked to any of your friends from your old school? I know a lot of you guys just went to different middle schools and stuff like that, but I mean, Kelly or Hoy, do you guys talk to the principal or anybody and just get kind of like any updates or what show they're doing right now? Although I guess it has to be a Zoom musical. A Zoomical.
A Zoomsicle, actually, that's what it's called.
Thank you. Keeping me honest.
I mean, so in the theater club we would have me and 3 friends. We were called the Four Amigos or something we were called the Four Amigos. And the thing was, we recently met up yesterday, right? Yeah, we met up yesterday, and it just found out that 2 of them just stopped doing anything related to musical theater. So it's just me and this other kid named Jack, who's also in the documentary.
Yes.
It's just me.
Jack is Kristoff.
Yeah.
Please, I know. Oh, gosh. I'm obsessed. Well, I know we're kind of coming down to our last bit of time, but are there any final thoughts that you guys have about this process? Or, yes, we have one last question.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, William. Steve wants to know, what kind of music do you listen to? What do you get down to?
Probably stuff from Louis Capaldi, maybe.
Whoa.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. What type of music is that?
It's sad and it's sad and slow, sort of.
Oh, I like that. Very introspective. Very, one might say, very dramatic. Potentially, who knows? Maybe one might say. Well, where can we find more of your work, Kelly and Hoy? How can we find you after this? How can we support you?
Yeah. Well,
go
go ahead.
We're always that. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say you can follow updates on our film because we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all Curtain Up Film.
Okay.
We're, I guess, almost kind of at the end of our fall festival run, but we are always looking out for opportunities to present at more festivals or even in community screenings, especially if you think there's relevant audience like students, kids, and yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. I also think, anybody out here in the world who has seen this film and thinking about bringing it to if you're a teaching artist, bringing it to your organization, I think this is a great way to advocate for more arts educators. 100%.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, anything to add from you?
I mean, in terms of the film, it's also the website is curtainupfilm.com, so you can definitely follow up. Kelly and I were both working on some personal projects now, after this documentary. I'm writing a book. I just finished a book, actually, on the issue of identity from the perspectives of Asian American, Chinese American, overseas Chinese, and mainland Chinese, kind of trying to bridge 2 perspectives of native Asians and Asian Americans. It's coming out hopefully by the end of this year. So I'll update maybe on our film's website or on my personal website, huitong.me.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Yes, because pre-order is everything.
Right.
Pre-order is
in this age, yeah.
Yes. Right. Yes. Thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. I really, really appreciate everyone who tuned in. We really hope that you enjoy the rest of the Philly Asian American Film Festival, and definitely check out the website to see what other local Asian American, Pacific Islander theater artists there are, or film artists there are, and all the things that they have in the program this year. And thank you to all of our amazing guests for being here with me and hanging in there, getting a little silly, but Got to keep it live, keep it real, revealing secrets that Kelly and Hoy didn't even know.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh,
Thank
gosh,
you.
of course. And
Thank you.
That's it for us.
Bye.
Wow, that was fast.
You say this kill, black and brown, and when will you talk about class in this story? The rest is allegory. Come together, unionize, see it through each other's eyes. No need to fight over supplies while workers save lives. They need protection too. What we gonna do? Organize our way through. And for those behind bars, we must fight hard. Global pandemic, endemic, systemic. No equality, no quality of life.